Hey, audio everyone, Monster here. We're back in action for more Force of Will attraction. That's right, I actually got two little boxes right here. They're starter decks for Force of Will, of course. And they're really nice and interesting. They're from the Reiya Cluster, if you did not know. That is the newest cluster that is out right now. So if you actually want to get into Force of Will, I suggest going with these starter decks first and then like working your way with Ancient Knights, which should have come out today, time of recording, and then pretty much should be out by the time this video is out. So yeah, I mean, Force of Will, I'm still new to it. It's just really cool. Like, look how pretty these two things are. Like, both this girl and this guy right here. They're very, very nice, very shiny and like epic looking. And just there's a lot of detailed design to it that I really like. And this is just the starter deck alone. And most starter decks, I feel, aren't really captivating, but Force of Will has a certain charm to it that just makes their starter decks a whole lot cooler, you know? So the first one that you're seeing here, the Elemental Surge, I got it at a local card shop that I found out had Force of Will, and this is after I ordered this one right here. After I ordered this one from Cool Stuff Inc., essentially. And I really, really wish that I didn't order it, if only just to support local business and also get a promo card, because you get a promo card whenever you buy these starter decks. Essentially, they're supposed to come with a promo card, and this is the promo card right here. Actually, a really good card. It's basically a quick cast, so you can just like block anybody for free, and prevents all damage. And also, she can produce whatever she wants. It's pretty awesome because it's all your force stuff, and just really, really cool. It's just a nice utility card, essentially. It does two different things that are really cool, and it's quick cast, and that's just really fancy. Also, it looks really pretty. I mean, this is already based off a card before, so if you don't get this card, you can still actually, use the card. Like, you just need to, like, find it somewhere else, because I think it's, like, a super rare or something like that. But for this in particular, let's go ahead and actually unbox this whole entire thing, because, I did open it, and this is kind of unboxing. Shazammy Blammy. And, of course, they have, right here, the inside Force of Will instructions. And in all honesty, I'm probably going to keep these decks, the deck boxes itself, because they're just really cool looking. But like I said before in the previous Force of Will one with the water one, it's really cool looking, and just high quality stuff, just legitimately, and it still has this little thing. And honestly, I've been very impressed with Force of Will for what it is and what it does. So like, just sure. Opening things with one hand is not easy, folks. That's just the case. It's the case of poison. It is not easy to open one-handed. Yeah, here is Gil, the gifted Conjurer. Just so you know, in terms of like actual like deck builds and whatnot, the green deck is actually the worst one. It really is. I'm not sure about the JRoll itself because it has a barrier on it, and that's pretty cool. And it seems like it does a pretty nifty little thing. But the green deck doesn't really have a lot to deal with in terms of just out of the box. I'm sure it has a lot of utility to it. As you can see, this little elf has synergy with elemental resonators. So that's pretty cool, but it's just, it's not too great, you know? That's kind of the sad thing, is that it's just not too great. But as you can see, this is probably like your top one right here. Seal, the Elven Prince. He is a 5 cost, but if you have at least 3 elementals in your graveyard, he's only a 2 cost, because you still have to pay that 2 leaf mana, because it says only pay 1 less, not 1 less and a thing less, a little leaf thing. So unfortunately, you still have to pay that. Ooh, this is Eldritch Resident right here. Okay, so look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put one of them in your graveyard, and the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's kind of weird. Self-milling deck, just so y'all know, that's its basic strategy here, is the self-mill elemental cards, and basically you would just like get powered up that way. There's some other cards that do that. This is also another elemental card, except this is the one that you actually would want to put in the grave because it's draw a card. It's just card filler, honestly. I always have trouble with these kind of cards because it's just like, it doesn't make so much sense, but I get it, you know, because it's card filler. That's all it is. So 4 cards right here are just literally meant to just draw a card. I mean, it's cool that's quick cast and everything, but Now this one right here is actually going to be really good for an elf deck, and I'm very happy to have a few more of these. It's only a 2 cost, and I know what it says right here, rest another recovered Resonator. You control this card gains plus 100, plus 100. But in terms of elves, they get a lot of tokens out, and they get a lot of them out fast. And with Ancient Knights, some of the cards are just synergized so well with this card, and you can activate this anytime, essentially. So when you go in there and they're like, do you block it? And they're like, no. So I'm like, I'm gonna rest like all like 5 of my Resonators. Boom. Now it's only 1,100. And you're good. You get a free damage boost on that. And the coolest thing about that is it's only like 4,000 essentially that you're gonna like wreck people for. So this could potentially make like 1/4 of the game just go by. I had to fix some card orders and whatnot because I want you all to see the most uniquer cards in comparison. This one right here is just Catapulter. It's just an elemental. That's all it is. I'm not gonna really be using elementals, but it's kind of a cool bit because it's a 1 cost and it has 400, so it's pretty good for what it is. This one, however, it is kind of like I mean, it's a 3 cost. If it was like a 2 cost or something and just had like a little less attack or something, I think it'd be better off. If only for the fact that just its card isn't that great, because it's just when it goes from the graveyard, draw a card. Which, again, this is supposed to be a self-milling deck, but I mean, I would rather have it in a different way in terms of elementals, and self-milling itself I don't really trust. That mainly has to do with you possibly taking out if you don't do enough damage in time. It's just, I don't feel like I ever would. I do not know why this card is in this deck. I know it says draw a card, discard a card, but it's human. If it was elf or if it was elemental, that makes sense. But it's a human, and a lot of these newer JRollers here, they're actually very tribal. And if you don't know what tribal means, it's basically they have to have the same sort of how to say resonator thing on there, and the same sort of creature. It's like running a mermaid deck and suddenly there's a human in there for no reason. You can't really do that. That's not how it really works. And then we also have a fairy, and I constantly mistook this over and over and over again when I was battling my friend, because she was battling. She bought the green deck on her own. But this right here, it's a Resonator Fairy. Does not make sense at all. Why is it a Resonator Fairy and not Resonator Elemental? Makes literally no sense. It's a 3 cost, has 800, pretty dang bad for it. And although it's kind of cool that you can search a deck for Elemental and put it in the graveyard, and then you can shuffle it, like, when it enters the field, you pretty much choose an addition, essentially. Destroy target non-magic stone, non-J resonator entity. And that's cool and all, but like, again, this is just, it's not an elemental. It doesn't actually work with the deck itself, and it feels weird because it should work with the deck. See, that's search your deck for elemental and then put it in the graveyard. Why can't it self-mill itself or do something else in particular? It's just so weird and stupid. At the very least, we do have this, Vanish, Spirit Magic. Obviously, it's cancel target spell, which is pretty dang cool. It's also a quick cast, so you can pretty much just cancel any spell at any point in time. Of course, canceling spells, really good. And for Magic users out there, if you're wondering why green has this and not blue, it's mainly because green can do everything. I'm not sure why blue doesn't have any sort of cancel spells in their starter deck, because if you look back on that one, you'll see that it doesn't really have a cancel spell, but this one does. It's because green is pretty much everything. It really is. As you see right here with Winds of Vanity and whatnot, target J Resonator gains plus 600, plus 600. So that means you can actually work it on this J Resonator right here. See, when it says J on there, for those that don't know, you can actually target JRoll, and that's just freaking cool because, like, not many cards actually do that. It also has quick cast, and it's a 1 cost, so this is pretty fancy. So you can like activate like 4 of them at a time if you really wanted to, and just wreak havoc, and that's just freaking cool. But as you can see, we're kind of getting back to the same old ones that we had before, and that just kind of sucks, honestly. Like, we have some good cards in here, but for the most part, this deck does not have synergy. It does not have synergy at all. And we're going to look at a deck that does have synergy, and it blows my mind how they changed the two, because the blue deck doesn't really have synergy in the sense that it has a game plan, but it's there, you know, it has something going for it. This one has a basic concept, but it doesn't work, and it's just like, why doesn't it not work? Because, like, the blue deck is competent, but the green deck is not. I can tell you right now. When a Force of Will experienced player cannot beat me, a newcomer, with the blue deck, and they have the green deck, that's a problem. And one of the main reasons that is the problem is because if you do not have flying in terms of resonators or creatures, you're screwed. This is not like Magic where you get some extra stuff like reach and things like that. No, you're just screwed, and that's the suckiest thing to ever suck. Of course, this isn't the only thing that you get. Of course, you get your stones too, which their Windstone is really pretty, and the main reason why I actually got this because I like pretty Magic stones. I'm a sucker for shininess, and just look how shiny that is, and also it's just really just fancy. And then right here, we also have the special Magic Stone right here. Just banish this card, draw a card, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not the best thing ever, but if you're really desperate in need, and considering that green is able to pull a lot, and I mean a lot of mana, you're not going to be hurting for this. You're not going to be hurting for banishing this card. It's just kind of like, oh, you know, right, okay, cool, whatever. But we also have the JRoll here. If I haven't shown it before in a proper condition, we're going to show it again. Just for a quick little look here, because he does have some things that work for him. He does. And he even has this little thing right here. I didn't realize at first, when I first unboxed my water one, but that little tribal stuff right there, that's for them later on down the road, when they want to like errata it, and just like have a means to justify it, essentially. So that's pretty cool, but just one of those things just like... like, it's alright for the most part. This is definitely not the deck to synergize. Although, if you do have this card, if you got this card as a promo, you can definitely stick it in here and it works just as well. And considering that all the decks here come with 40 cards, you can just stick that in right away. And it would not hurt you whatsoever. So, if you do just decide to, like, get the deck and you are able to actually get this promo card, which by now I think you're probably going to be very stressed to find that, it's just one of those things, just like... it's kind of alright. Now right here we have one of the better decks that are constructed here. And the reason why I say that is because this deck literally synergizes. Like, it just works so well with itself, and just when I was facing my brother with this deck, because he got this deck before me, because for some reason or another, as much as I've become a new person to Cool Stuff Inc., it took so long to send this over, and it was just the suckiest thing to ever suck. But this thing just is able to just tear things apart if it gets going, and that's kind of the suckiest thing about when you're just playing starter decks alone. You just have to work on the synergy and whatnot of what the original deck has. I like how each time I have to like literally just like ham it down. You're not meant to do this one hand, I'm going to tell you that right now. That's just not the case. But as you can see, there's our JRoller right there. We'll get to them in a second, because it's really cool. But for those new out there for Force of Will, you need your JRoller to be, your ruler / JRoller to be kind of the pinnacle of your whole entire thing. In order to make things work, as you can see, put mystery counter on this card, and as the game starts, put a mystery counter on this card. You're going to be seeing a lot of that. That's with the very first one. When this card is put into the graveyard from your field, put a mystery counter on your JRoller. So this is pretty much just a 2 for a sack for a mystery counter, and that's actually extremely good for this deck. If only for the fact that it just works. It's one of those weird things that just, hey, you know, like it works for the deck. This is probably one of the few cards here. I'll card the Vicarian Noble, which, by the way, these arts for the basic cards are really fancy. And on top of that, your JRoller is a vampire. So when you JRoll, you judgment, which I'm still like learning all the terminology and whatnot, unfortunately. He's gonna actually sync with that. He's gonna be like plus 200, like boom. It's like, oh, nice. That's a nice little bit. So it actually works pretty well for this deck too. And of course he stacks, so that's cool, because we have 4 of them. Because each copy that you've seen, essentially, there's 4 of them, unless it's a Magic Stone, because then it's like 6. This one right here, Ashen Snow White, very makes me pissed off, because they have precision in the game plus 200 whenever you remove a mystery counter from your JRoller. So that can happen at any point in time, and that's just the funsy thing to do. Unfortunately, you can only play this ability only once per turn, which is a good thing, because you actually do need that little essentially like limit, because with other JRollers, if it just says pay this, that's all you have to do. You do not have to do anything else. Just pay it and you're good. That's all. But this one right here is essentially a potential 700, 900. And precision, for those that do not know, basically they get to attack monsters that are face up. So when a ruler is rested, resonator is rested, oh my god. So we have two of them right here. We got the ruler that's I keep saying ruler. We got the resonator that's rested here. So let's say they attacked or something. And then we got one right here. That's kind of like whatever. Or better yet, just for the sake and purposes, they rested this one because they wanted to attack and make sure this guy dies. The person won't let the guy die, so it's like, oh no, whatever. But they let this one live because it's like, hey, I want to make sure you stay alive. What she could actually do, remove the mystery counter so she gains precision, and then gets plus 200, plus 200. So she's actually able to kill this vampire here. And when it's like this is considered a recovered resonator, and this is a rested resonator. So rested resonators, you attack at any point in time. You're able to declare an attack on them or on the person themselves, and they get to choose whether to block or not. So like I can actually like block any given attack with him because he's not rested yet. And every time that you do block, you do kind of like you rest it, you tap it, and just kind of like a cool little thing. It's a nice little extra meta to the whole entire game, and just kind of something that just like is kind of cool when you have precision, because precision pretty much makes it so you can kill anybody on the field if you really wanted to. So yeah. In other words, it has a nice way of punishing. Of course, it is Fairy Tale, which kind of sucks because that doesn't sync with everything else, but this deck already has enough synergy as it is, and it's annoying. This is my main reason why I don't like this deck. It is a 1 cost, and it has 400 defense, and its attack is based on your JRoller's mystery counter. So with her, she can actually keep powering this thing up, but she just keeps tapping herself, as you can tell right here. Put a mystery counter on this card. That's what you just do for tapping it. So you can make this a potential 400 on the second turn, just for funsies, and just swing for free flying, because flying pretty much doesn't come out the second turn. It comes out like the third turn. And this one's a 1 flying, so it's ridiculous sometimes. And then like you can power it up all the way to a lot more. It could be like a 1600 and just swing for a free 16. And there's 4 of them in this deck, so they just keep going and going and going with this. So you can actually snag an early lead if you get really lucky on everything. But that's not really going to happen in structured and whatnot. It's just one of those things that if you're playing as just with the starter decks, it's the most annoying thing ever, and I hate it. But now I have the card and I'm able to do it, so it's like, whatever, I don't care. Now this card right now, one of my favorite cards, because I used this during the what was it called, the pre-release tournament. Still a really good card. As long as you awaken it, it's an amazing card. It just removed 2 mystery counters. So with this deck right here, you're gonna have a lot more mystery counters and stuff like that. So that's probably the coolest thing here. And I was like looking at it, I was like, is it a chant or is it a monster? Like, no, that's the other creature right down there. So basically, you just make your opponent discard, and then if you awaken it, your opponent has to discard 2 cards, which is just really cool. And the art right here, just look how cool that looks, with the girl in the background, the butterflies like in the forefront and whatnot. Just this art is really amazing and astounding, and it being a 1 cost is really great. I love it for that. So it's kind of cool. And then we have Empress Carmelia, which is kind of weird because I believe that she is based off the actual original vampire. And for those that don't know the lore to it, the first vampire was essentially a lesbian that just drank period blood. Like, no lie. I know that's kind of like uncouth here, but I'm just telling you like it is. Like, that's the whole bit. I believe Carmelia is her name. I'm not positive on it, but suffice to say, it is a vampire name. It definitely is. Why she's named Empress, I don't know, because I don't recall that being the case. Although she is very annoying because she destroys things just for free when she goes in here. Destroy target resonator with total cost of 1. That's mean. That is so mean. Not because of, like, it's this particular, like, powerful card, because it's not a powerful card. It's just one of those cards that's like, let's get rid of the early threats. the earliest of early threats. And just like, no. And she's a vampire too, so she gets suited up by Mr. Mr. Alucard. So it's just like, oh no, more synergy, more things to do. It's just everything in this deck just kind of works with itself, plays on either the mystery counters, the vampires, or both. And it's astounding. Then we have Grim, the pitch black vampire. As you can see right here, four count, 900, 900, but he's also flying, so it's just like, oh god. And when this card enters the field, put target resonator from your graveyard into your hand. That is mean. That is mean. And then he has this, the 2 moon that you can pay. J resonators your opponent controls, gain -X, -X until end of turn, where X is the number of fairy tales you control. So he's a fairy tale, and also this one's a fairy tale. So now we have more synergy here, where basically it's like almost like a 200 minus, like each time he activates that, like every turn, like every time, and that is ridiculous. And that's your opponent controls. That's all your opponent's resonators. I feel like that's way too overpowered for what it is, but I'm not familiar enough with the game to actually know if that is the case or not. I do feel like it should be 1 resonator, but what do I know? I guess. Suffice to say, for a 4-drop, he is your coup de grace. The not the finisher, as it were, but just you got no hope, as far as I'm concerned. Because I played against this deck numerous times. It's just like, oh, as soon as that guy comes out, it's just like, whatever. And then we also have another vampire, which is just a 1, which is cool, because, you know, having 1s out there is very fun to have. And then we also got this card right here. So, Sword of the Half Moon. It's a quick cast, so that's cool. So target J resonator gains -600, -600 until end of turn. If the card was awakened, put it into its owner's hand as it resolves. So what it means by as it resolves is, if it doesn't kill it, then put it into the hand instead. So basically what you do is just, it's almost like the other card that I had with the mermaid just going, wah, and just essentially sending them to the top of their deck, which is kind of cool, but it's just one of those things, just like, oh god, all kinds of mean and awfulness. There's another card I used right here, Sword of the New Moon, for the pre-release, because I did not have the card, but for some weird reason or another, they decided to have all the cards that you get in the starter decks in Ancient Knights. That's the next set that essentially went out. So Ancient Knights is basically has these reprints, but they're different art and everything. So that's actually really cool. A lot of fancy things that are going on right here in this card, but the card is still really good. Destroy your target resonator with a total cost of 1 or less, unless you awaken it, which is by removing a mystery counter. And it's a total of 4 or less. So if you have her, if you have this JRoller out, you're pretty much going to always awaken it just to kill the 4 cost, because getting rid of 4 cost is so amazing. You already saw Grim, as it were, so it's just like, ugh, all kinds of craziness. And then we also have all these things to go around, so it's just the same old thing, as it were. So let's get to the actual nitty-gritty, and that is the fancy special magic stones. And then this is the stone from the darkness, obviously. And when this card enters the field, put a mystery counter on your JRoller. So it's a free mystery counter, essentially, which is really, really good, and it really helps you just, like, pick up momentum, essentially. And just that's the whole bit here, is that you're picking up a lot of momentum. Also, the Darkness Magic Stone, the way it looks is really nice and pretty, and I love the way this art is so much. Can you tell? Can you tell so much? It's lovely and amazing. And honestly, this is the biggest reason why I say get into Force of Will. I'm not even joking. It's the best reason. And of course we have our JRoller here. She is a flying. When this card enters the field, put 3 mystery counters on it. So it's just like, oh yeah, judgment free 3 mystery counters. Unfortunately, she cannot put mystery counters on herself anymore. So she just kind of like, kind of screwed if you go in too early. But look at her little rest thing. Rest, remove a mystery counter from this card. Destroy target resonator. That's anything. That's essentially anything on the board. That's a free thing, essentially, for her. She gets 3 free kills if she really wanted to. Of course, you do have to rest her, which means that she is open target. So there is a nice little give and take, but she has 1200 defense. If she had like 1000 defense and not 1200 defense, I feel like it would have been far fairer to do, but she's not broken. Like, I don't think a lot of these cards that are here are broken. They're a little too overpowered, you know what I'm saying? Because for me personally, I do not have a lot of cards right now, so I don't know how well this all goes down. But suffice to say, this deck definitely has a ton of synergy to it. And I feel like that thing right there, the little chant thing, is going to be there to nerf her, essentially. Because I feel like she's going to get nerfed, and that's kind of it. Honestly, I feel like she's going to be the most nerfed out of all of them. Not by a wide degree, just I feel like she's going to get like a small amount of nerfage going on here, because her deck is just way too synergized, and it really works so well with it. Everybody else is kind of like, just needs a boost. Well, yeah, there's my opening and unboxing of my Force of Will stuff. The ones that I got now. Yeah, I'm really getting into Force of Will. It's coming in hard. I might actually get the red box, the red starter deck, in all honesty. And that's probably a bad thing, because it costs a lot of money. And just like, I want to get games and stuff like that too. But this card game really got me all kinds of hype for it, because it's mainly pretty and I played a good amount of it. Has a lot of strategy to it, so I guess I got that going for me too. Well, anyway, till next time, everybody. Sayonara. Bye bye.